So guys, I owe you a follow-up on the brake job that I did on my 300ZX. Going on at least 2-3 months ago that I did that. If you recall, I don't know if I mentioned it, I did that before I went to Road Atlantic, because you basically have to have some sort of upgraded pads in order to get on the track. Z1 Motorsports, who host the event that I went to, pretty much won't let you get on the track without some sort of upgraded brake pad. So far, I absolutely love them. I have the Hawk HP Plus pads. I put new factory style rotors on them, so they're blank, they're not drilled or slotted. And then the Z1 Motorsports stainless steel lines and Motul RBF brake fluid. And this performed really well. I've done a couple of autocrosses, I think about 2 or 3. With this setup, and I really like how it brakes. There's not too much drawback to them. The only major downside to this, to really just the brake pad, is that when they're cold, they will squeak. They squeak like you would not believe. And that's just because they're designed to operate at a higher temperature range so that you don't get brake fade when you're doing a harder track event. Now, Hawk says that these pads are designed for autocross / club days, that they're not really a full-blown racing pad, and I can say pretty strongly that that is true. I didn't really get any brake fade at the event at Road Atlanta simply because we weren't going all out. It was not a race. It was just like, it wasn't a competitive event. It was just a fun day at the track. Now, I'm not an amazing driver, so I was definitely not driving to the best ability of the car or the, to the brake pads. So there might have been issues with my braking that could have caused them to fade a little bit. But there was only about once or twice that I noticed that they were giving in a little bit. Now, as far as the benefits, the first thing you're going to notice is the bite. After you bed the pads in and they've had a chance to bed into the rotor, the bite is really nice. You're going to get an they're going to immediately start grabbing onto the rotor, and the braking is going to be consistent all throughout the pedal. It's not like a factory pad or even something that's lighter where you're going to get more of a it's going to give a little bit right there at the beginning. These things, they want to put you through the windshield. They're real touchy. You step on the brakes just a little bit and they're right on it. They're ready to grab the rotor and stop the car. With my ABS working now, I mean, it's phenomenal for autocross. If all you do is autocross, these are right there. They're perfect for you. They're exactly what you need. If you're worried that you might need something heavier to, this will do plenty. If you're going to put these on a daily driver, I gotta warn you, they squeak. They squeak really bad when they're cold. 2 or 3 times braking before they get up to a decent enough temperature where they're not going to break on, where they're not going to squeak on you. So I really don't recommend putting them on a daily driver. But other than that, the pads are absolutely phenomenal. The brake lines, the Z1 Motorsports stainless steel brake lines for the 300ZX, great fitment, great quality, great finish. Absolutely no complaints there. They have all the factory retaining clips, so that way you can secure them inside the wheel well so that they're not dangling freely. Some of the cheaper ones you'll have to zip tie them or something like that. And then the rotors, just factory blank rotors. If you have a 300ZX, I personally would recommend that you just stick with a blank rotor, simply because if you go with something that's drilled or slotted, you're giving up a lot of real estate on your rotor. The 300ZX's rotors are not that big to begin with. Everything I've done has certainly helped them. I know from the factory, and even if you read reviews of the 300ZX, you know, from when it came out, the brakes were always an area where it was kind of lacking. And this setup really gets rid of a lot of that. For spirited driving and stuff like that, these are going to be phenomenal. Again, they're going to squeak until you get them warmed up, but they'll definitely cure any of the problems that the 300ZX has as far as the braking being inadequate. And this is probably one of the best things I've done to the car, and it is definitely something that if you know the factory brakes, you got to keep the factory brakes, and you need to do something, you got to upgrade the brakes, but you don't have the money for a big brake kit, this is definitely worth the money. You know, don't worry, don't feel like, oh, you're just reusing, you know, it's not going to be that big of it. It is a massive difference. It is definitely worth it, 100%. And then the Motul RBF brake fluid, as you saw earlier in the video, the brake fluid on this vehicle was just disgusting. Odds are the brake fluid's never been changed in most of these cars. It's not something people really pay attention to. And I highly recommend that you do the fluid at the same time, simply because it's gonna really fix the pedal feel big time. If you don't switch out the brake fluid, you're gonna have issues with the fluid boiling, and you will notice it. You will get lousy pedal feel. So it's definitely worth it. This was definitely a great upgrade. I give it an A+. It is definitely worth the money. I'd say it was about a $400 or $500 brake upgrade, which is pretty good when, you know, the next best big brake kit starts at around $1,100-1,200, depending on how you go. There's a couple of little kits out there that you can do where you can get some used Brembo brakes off of SRT8s and 350Zs and stuff like that. Get the brackets and put them on there. That you might be able to put that together cheaper. Honestly, I think this is plenty brakes for the Z, and it retains the factory brake balance, so you're not upsetting that, which is a big thing. If your ABS works, and you know you're gonna be able to lay into the brakes really hard without locking the tires up. These will not lock the tires up, even with the size tires that I have and the brakes being what they are. It doesn't lock the tires up. It makes the ABS pump work hard. You can hear it pinging behind me in my videos when I'm doing autocross and stuff. It's definitely putting in the work, but overall, definitely worth the money, definitely worth the time, and I'm extremely happy with it. So that's my my report on the brakes, and if anything changes, you know, I'll update this video with any new information. So see you guys next time.